On behalf of Lucas's family, thank you for being here. Thank you for your show of support, your thoughts, your prayers, and your presence. I don't remember the last time this church was this full. Your outpouring of love and of care have been extraordinary, and we thank you. We've gathered here today to celebrate. This service is designed to be a celebration of the life of Lukas Strasser-Hird, a life that, when it was ended too soon, left behind shock, anger, pain, and sorrow. These are good and natural reactions to the sudden loss of a friend and family member. Lukas was many things to those who've gathered. He was a son, a grandson, a nephew, a friend, an inspiration, a smile, a shoulder to cry on, a hand to lean on, one who needed and was needed. The scriptures tell us that there is a time for every season and activity under heaven. There is a time, they say, to laugh and a time to mourn. Today is a time for both. These actions will collide, and they collide because of the nature of the memory God has given us. We've gathered to remember Lukas, but memory is difficult. Memory is joy and sorrow mingled together. Memory rarely respects our desire for single emotion, but instead it forces us through many often conflicting emotions. Today, as we remember and as we celebrate, we will laugh and we will mourn. We will weep for joy and for sorrow. Sadly, today is not the last day that memory will assault you. There will be a smell, a sight, a sound, a taste, or a touch that will bring Lukas instantly back. And it is in those memories, large and small, that the grace of God is clearly found. The memory of Lukas, the life of Lukas, is a gift to you. Cherish his memory as you cherished his life. Celebrate his memory as you celebrate the life you had with Lukas. The word celebrate comes to us from Latin, and it means assembled to honor, a much frequented time of praise. These are words of memory. To celebrate is to gather together to honor. To celebrate is to gather in honor regularly, to praise regularly. Today we've gathered to honor and to praise. We honor Lukas, and we honor God for Lukas. We praise Lukas, and we praise God for the life and the memory of Lukas. In honor and in praise of Lukas, I've been asked to read this letter from a friend named Michelle. It's addressed to Lucas's mother, Audrey. Dear Audrey, I did not know your son like my sister Michaela did, but I would like to share with you the memories I do have from him. I remember the day I met him in a party, and he easily broke down the stranger barriers to talk to my sister and I. He was so authentic, so kind. Then I remember my sister stressing out about what she should wear to go to the Ateneo with him. He had old-fashionedly invited her out on a date. When my sister came home, she told me how nice Lukas was, how they shared a passion for physics, and what a gentleman. He did not let my sister pay a cent. Then I remember seeing him in SCIS. He was so nice to everyone. He talked to everyone without judging them. He could see through the book's cover. He also came to our house, and I remember thinking what an ideal guy my sister had met. They were so happy together, going to the park, playing card games, talking. I remember my sister inviting him to our birthday dinner. He was one of the first guests to arrive on time. He looked so elegant and brought us a box of chocolates. How considerate, I thought. He was so special and funny with everyone. He had no enemies. That must have been a sad night for him and my sister as they were saying goodbye, as my sister and I had to fly back to Madrid. Even though I did not know him very much, I speak so fondly of him because he was so nice to everyone, including me. He made my sister so happy, and it was nice to know that my sister had chosen well. He was an ideal boyfriend for her. He was old-fashioned in the way that he asked my sister out on a date, brought her a gift on her birthday, arrived on time to our party, danced so gracefully with her, showing her swing moves. He was so patient, so kind, and he had so much to give to this world. I wanted to thank you for having raised such a great person, and I want to give you my condolences on your loss. But please be strong, Strasser family. Be strong for Lukas. Be strong. I am praying for you every day. I believe God did not take Lukas like a hunter takes a deer, but like a gardener that cuts a rose only when it is at its best from the garden. We will not know why God needed Lukas early on, but be sure he is resting peacefully now. He is in heaven watching over all of us. I remember Lukas fondly, and I will always remember him this way. Even though he's physically gone, he will remain eternally because he left a legacy, because he inspired so many, because he touched so many souls. I can only remember him with love and with thankfulness. I'm so glad I met Lukas. Can you hear how palpable her memory is? Can you hear the honor and the praise in that letter? One of the character qualities that I keep hearing about from the stories and the letters and the tributes is Lukas's faithfulness. He was a faithful and loyal friend, a faithful and loyal son, a faithful and loyal grandson, a faithful and loyal family member. Faithfulness is not an easy quality to find. Too many of us are faithless when confronted with opposition, yet to remain faithful in the face of fear, in the face of violence, in the face of whatever obstacle, that truly is a gift, and a gift whose loss we will mourn. In the midst of this loss, in the midst of losing one so faithful, let these words be comfort to you. In the storms of life, though we may lose our faith, God remains faithful. God remains loyal. Let the memory of Lukas and his faithfulness remind you of the faithfulness of God who promised we would never be left alone, not even in the most painful of situations. At the graveside yesterday, Pastor Peter reminded us that even in the final moments of his life, Lukas was surrounded by the love, the faithfulness, and the presence of God. May that knowledge and the knowledge that none of us is far from that love and faithfulness be your comfort in mourning and your joy in laughter. Today we will hear stories of joy and sadness as we remember Lukas together. In those stories and memories, may the comfort of God begin to knit and bind the wounds which have been torn open in you because of your loss. In the days and months to come, as you seek to celebrate by honoring Lukas through memory, may the love of God surpass your wildest expectations and come to be your comfort and your anchor in the storm. We have several tributes that are going to pay honor and celebrate the life of Lukas this afternoon. I'm going to first invite Ramsey, one of Lukas's close friends, to come and share with us.
I'm glad to see that you're all here to commemorate the life of my best friend and my brother. I met Lukas when we were 11. I met Lukas when we were 11. By the time we were 14, I spent almost every day with him. He taught me so much. He taught me not to care what other people thought of myself. He taught me to want to enjoy my life and make the most of it. Lukas changed my life. He was always so smart. I was always so jealous of him. I would study all night just so I could try to be as smart as him, but I still couldn't be. He didn't even have to open a book, but yet he would surpass me in almost everything. When I met him, I was lazy and fat. He inspired me to lose the weight and better my life. I can't thank him enough. We did have our differences at times, but we were always there for each other, and we always solved our problems no matter how stupid they were. I will miss him for the rest of my life, and I think about him every single day. He was my best friend, but I feel like I lost a brother. That's all.
Thank you, Ramsey. I'm going to invite Ty Javos to come. He's going to share some memories of Lukas as well.
What do I say, you know? At first I was kind of pissed off trying to find a parking spot on the way here. This place was just filled. I was so mad, but now that I'm here and I see the influence Lukas had on all of Calgary, I mean, look at this. This is ridiculous. And I was there that night when it happened. And even though Lukas, even though he was outnumbered, outgunned at every position, he still went out fighting. And you know what? Anyone else I know would have been dead in that alley, but he made it all the way to the hospital. He waited until he could be with his family, who drove hours and hours to see him in his final moments. And I don't know if I can say this about anyone here, even myself, but I want everyone to know that Lukas was the most genuine, real human being that I had ever known in my entire life. You couldn't come close to how loyal he was to his friends, or to how he committed himself through academics, exercise. There will never be another Lukas Strasser in this entire lifetime. And for how long I knew him, I'll never be the same again. He touched me, and I know he touched all of you. And I'm so glad that everyone wasn't there that night, because you can remember him as the beautiful, beautiful man that he was. And I'm truly grateful that for that short time, I got to live life through his eyes. I hope you will all remember him this way as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ty. I'd like to invite Sean much more to come. He's going to share on behalf of the family.
Good afternoon, everyone. As it's been noted, my name is Sean, and I was and am Lucas's uncle. And I'm extremely grateful for Audrey and Dale for allowing me to speak about him today. Like many of you that are here today, I was there the day that Lucas was born. And I remember that day, extremely well. Not only because it was a beautiful day where, Lucas came into our world, but because I got a very large speeding ticket on the way to the hospital. And in fact, it was my last one in Canada. And, I think that Dale still owes me about $300 for that. So, and then over the last week that I've been back here in Canada, here in Calgary, I've had the opportunity to sit with family and friends and listen to a number of, memories and anecdotes about Lucas throughout the years, and I'd like to share a couple of those with you today. One of my favorites is from Dale, and it was a long time ago when I still lived here, but Dale and Lucas were at the park, down from the house where they played often, and Lucas was only just over 2 years old, and he would climb up the ladder to where the slide was and then walk through, and Dale would run around to the other side and wait for Lucas to slide down, and he did that a number of times, and then after one point, Lucas didn't come to the slide anymore. Dale patiently waited and wondered and eventually became concerned. And then he started to walk around the other part of the slide. And the first thing he noticed was a lady who was looking at the slide and smiling and almost crying at the same time. And as he came around the corner, there was Lucas at the top of the ladder, reaching down and helping up a young girl who couldn't quite make it up the ladder by herself. And that was just kind of what Lucas did. And then, so of course, this girl would go down the slide, and then there was Lucas again, waiting at the top of the ladder, again and again, until she no longer wanted to go down the slide, and then he, waved his goodbyes to, I'm sure, who was a very pretty young girl, even at 2 for Lucas. And then after that, Lucas went back and went down the slide to his dad again and enjoyed the rest of his day. Another one was, from my Aunt Deb, Lucas's grandmother, and she'd left Dale and Lucas to go to the shops one day, and then came home and found Dale and Lucas on the floor of the house, covered in paint from head to toe. There was paint everywhere, and she looked at them, of course, with a probably unhappy look in her eye, and Dale and Lucas stared back, and then out of nowhere, Lucas said, "It's okay, it's water-based paint." And he didn't have a care in the world. So, hearing stories like that, and there was many more, and then, of course, meeting a number of Lucas's friends over the last couple of days, really, really reinforced to me what kind of person that I had always seen Lucas to be. Of course, Lucas and I knew him a lot when he was very, very young, but then he and I lived in different cities. I was in Edmonton, he was here in Calgary, and then he was in Bolivia, and I was in Australia. So I only got to see him from a different perspective, and I think it afforded me a very specific opportunity to look at him differently than many people that knew him on a day-to-day basis. Because I watched him grow up from a distance. I only saw him in person every so often when our paths crossed, at Christmases and other, events. So most of what I knew of Lucas was, as it is for many families today, through digital media and Facebook and all those kind of things, and, from videos that my family would put up and things that he would say to his friends, and that's how I got to watch him. I had the opportunity to really have a perspective on the kind of man that he was growing to be without having to be there every day and, going through the day-to-day. And I think perhaps that gave me an opportunity to see his evolution perhaps more clearly because I only saw him in snapshots. I watched him go to school in 2 different countries with 2 different languages. I watched him start to play hockey. And even in his first days, I remember Dale and I arguing about, hoping that he could skate like me and handle the puck like him, and we'd argue back and forth. And he was better than both of us. I watched him grow into the boy that challenged his parents. And as an uncle, that's great because, my own children challenge me on a daily basis, but having that other perspective, it's nice to see that I'm not the only one, and it's just watching someone grow. And I watched him grow into a teenager who did many, many ill-advised things that, few of us in this room did not do ourselves. I watched him as he grew cognizant of the man that he wanted to become. I proudly observed as he discovered who he wanted to be. And through all those years, and all the things I watched, and all the times I knew him, there was one theme that really, really stood out to me. That he wanted to inspire people, and both of his friends today have alluded to that very clearly. The way that he tried to do that evolved as he did throughout the years, but me seeing him in those snapshots, it was always there. Lukas truly believed that he could always become a better version of himself, and his efforts to do so, I don't think escaped anybody that knew him. His efforts to do this have, whether each of you have realized it or not, I'm sure affected all of us. I think in reflection, everybody here can look back and at some point say that something he did or something he said, whether it was to or for us or not, caused us to take a moment and maybe think about something that we might do, better of ourselves. To me, this will be Lukas's legacy. He wanted his life and the way that he strived to live it to be an inspiration to those he loved. I believe that he will continue to do that. And in celebration of his life, today and forever, I hope that every one of us pays attention and listens to him. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean, for that encouragement. I'm going to invite Lucas's sister, Julia, to come and share with us.
Thank you so much for coming to this celebration of my brother, Austin Lukas Strasser-Hird's life. I wanted to start off by telling you something I have done for my brother. I have written him a letter that he can take to paradise with him. So, here it is. My dear brother Lukas, I am so thankful that you made it on your first day on earth. You are the most amazing brother a girl could ever wish for. I am giving you this medal because I remember when I told you I'd got my second soccer medal, you said, "Congrats, I love you," and there are no words to express how proud I am of you. I started to tear up. Your girlfriend has been talking to me a lot, and she feels the same way as I do. She said she loved how cheesy you were and how much she loved your cheesy compliments. You never let me drink milk out of the carton. Where am I? Okay. You never let me drink milk out of the carton, even though boys are usually the ones who do it. I know you loved me so much, and I loved you, but you still love me, and I still love you. I've heard you told everyone about me. I've had about 6 people tell me how much you would say how much you loved me, how proud you were of me, and I cried when each person told me that, especially your girlfriend. She said you always told her that you wanted to try your best to protect me. I know you were in a better place now. Well, everyone knows you're in heaven. But without you here on earth, my heart is broken into over 1 million pieces. Please continue to talk to me and please stay in my dreams. I only knew you and played with you for 9 years, but they were the best 9 years of my life. I will see you up in the sky when my time comes. I love you forever. Rest in paradise, Lucas Flukas. Love, Julia. I hope he enjoys that letter, and I hope you did too. Now I would like to share some memories that I really love, and I'm sure you will too. First of all, Daddy told me this one. Lucas was about 1 year old, and cell phones came out. So sometime in 1996, Daddy always saw Lucas sucking on his phone, so Daddy tried it. He noticed that there was a little shock, and I guess Lucas liked it. And then another one is Lucas loved French fries when he was a baby, so him and Daddy would go to Burger King and get some fries. So one day, Daddy and Lucas went over to Burger King and got some fries and drove home. When they were outside in the car, Daddy had to get Lucas out of his baby seat. It got stuck. He was shaking the car, and the fries fell into a mud puddle. Daddy said, "Shiz!" but with a T, and Lucas started laughing and laughing. For the next 4 or 5 days, Lucas would go around the house dropping stuff, saying "shiz" while dropping stuff. That made me laugh so hard. And then, Never Forgotten Balloon to the Face movie is one of the funniest things ever. I was about 1 or 2, and Lucas was 10 or 11. Daddy and Lucas would hit each other with balloons, and they would even pop them on each other. And I would get so mad at Daddy because I didn't want Lucas to get hurt. And then another one, Lucas fell out of a 25-foot tree when he was 11. He came back in July this year, and he still had a scar. And Lucas made me eat a chili pepper. I was like, "Oh, it won't taste that hot at all." I thought wrong. Oh my gosh, my face was bright red, and Lucas was laughing so hard. It was also like 10:30 at night, and I didn't want to wake anybody up. Then we watched Impractical Jokers, and Lucas loved that show. And then one of the most recent ones, Lucas was driving, and he went up on a curb, and it was a huge bump. We totally freaked out. He always motivated everyone. He always tried to help everyone too. He said, "If I can do it, you can too." His smile is printed on my soul, and I hope the same for you. This is also, there's a picture of me and Lucas and him holding Tiny, and he's wearing a white shirt, and this is the shirt. And I wanted to thank Audrey for giving me this shirt. It's really nice. He was and is the best brother in the world. I will love him forever. I'm honored to speak to you today. Thank you.
Thanks, Julia. That was very celebratory. You honored your brother well. Thank you. I'm going to invite Lucas's uncle, David Strasser, to come and speak for his family as well.
The family's asked me to speak on their behalf, and it's a task that I'm unable to do. So instead, I will speak their words. I have a collection of short letters from each member of our family to Lucas. Lucas, from your mother. As a mother, I'm not sure I can summarize in a few words what Lucas brought into my life. I can tell you that I was blessed with a child that had one of the most beautiful souls I have come across. His compassion towards others often took me aback. He had a patience in him that most of us can only dream of attaining. He made every day of my life worthwhile, even the bad ones. One of his hugs or seeing that smile when I walked through the door was all it took to soothe away the day. Not only was he able to touch the lives of adults and all his friends, as well as all the children that came into his life. Being the oldest of 3 siblings and 5 cousins, he was so loved by each and every one, always patient with them, bringing giggles to their beautiful faces. His love for life was undeniable. His passion for learning brought an excitement out in him that was contagious. Our shared passion for reading and debating always had me on my toes. His knowledge on topics I'd never even touched on taught me so much. My fondest memory of Lukas will always be his honesty with me. I would often joke with family and friends that I wish he wouldn't tell me so much. Of course, in the back of my mind, ever so grateful that we had a relationship of love and pureness with no barriers between us. I will forever be grateful for the happiness he brought into my life, his love, his kindness, and his beauty will be etched in my soul for always. Today is not goodbye, for I will see you again, my love. Rest in peace, my baby boy. From Jamie. Never feel the need, and without judgment was able to find the true beauty and strength within. He always loved to extend his hand to the proverbial underdog. The passion, charisma, intelligence, and determination displayed by such a beautiful soul made his future success not only attainable, but undeniable. Although we are in different worlds now, somehow we are still together. These are the times to remember. Our memories will last forever. Godspeed, my friend. Lukas, from your grandma. Lukey, through your birth I was blessed to experience a new love, a first true love, a grandma's love. You will always live in my heart until the day we meet again. Wait for me, and we will sit together and share milky tea and cookies. I cannot wait to see your eyes, the most beautiful big blue eyes in the world, and your ear-to-ear smile. Until then, my love, your grandma. From your auntie. When I think of you, my first thought is a young man with a gentle soul, someone who was of a curious nature and intelligent. You had a beautiful smile that lit up a room and made everyone feel comfortable. It was complemented by your piercing blue eyes and long eyelashes. Who could resist that? You were very courageous, patient, kind, and caring about others, always willing to help those who needed support. It didn't matter if you knew them well or not at all. You had an ease connecting with people, Lukas, and you left your imprint on them. You had a sweet and generous nature, confidently shy at times. Spending time with you and talking was always so effortless, no matter the place or the subject. I loved your sense of humor, and that you could always get a laugh out of me. Even a sly smile between us was shared many times. Watching you grow into such a beautiful person with strong values made me very proud to be your auntie. And anyone who knew me well also knew about you. I so loved talking and bragging about you. I loved and cherished every moment I spent with you. From your cousin, Pablo. The people we come across in our lifetime, the interactions and connections we developed with them, become the ingredients that make up who we are today. The loss of you, mi primo, from our lives feels like I've lost an essential piece of who I am. I miss you, Lukas. From your uncle. My dear Simmons, I will cherish your memory. A nephew who loved me unconditionally, loyal, strong, intelligent. We were allies, my dear sweet friend. We battled orcs and goblins. We overthrew the entire galactic empire. We built castles. We traveled continents together, by plane, by boat, by train. We wrestled Chinook from the ocean, hiked across raging rivers, wove. And without fail, you always dug your toes into my side as we slept in the night. In celebration of your life cut short, I pledge to carry your spirit forward into my life, to climb mountains and sail the seas in your name, to share your loving nature with my family, Jacob and Yeli, to always remember you often and fondly, and to honor our bond and our promises. I was your imperfect role model, trying always to be a friend and a shelter from the adversities in our lives. But ultimately, I learned more about life from you than any example I could set. Lukas, you are loved. Your innocent blood was spilled, and you were stolen away from us. But your spirit lives on in your family's memories forever.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Strasser family, for sharing your memories, your joys and sorrows with us today. There's been a slideshow prepared by Lukas's friends. We're going to watch that now. going to invite Audrey to come and share a little bit.
I'm not prepared to speak at all today. I just wanted to thank each and every one of you for coming today, for sharing in our memory of Lukas. There's so many beautiful memories we have of him and joyous occasions that we can't put on a piece of paper. And we will carry him in our heart for always and always and always. And there has been a tremendous outpouring of love from all of Calgary, from the UK, from places, from people that we have never laid eyes on, that have never met Lukas. I've never seen his beautiful smile or heard him laugh, but it has brought a warmth into our hearts during this time of pain. Nothing in this world will take away my broken heart. But the amount of love that we are receiving has healed a tiny little spot inside of us. And for me to know how loved he was, and knowing that outside of the home he treated people as kindly as he always treated me. There was not a day in my life that I did not speak with my son that he did not tell me how much he loved me. I was so blessed with such a beautiful child. And I cannot take credit for him. I can only take credit for nurturing something that he was born with. God blessed him with a soul that was divine, and he inspired everyone around us. And I will carry him in my heart forever, as well as all his immediate family, all his friends, and anyone that has been a part of our lives for a long time. And I thank you again from the bottom of our hearts for all the love that we are receiving, and I'm sure we will continue to receive. May God bless you all. I love you, Mama, and Jacqueline, and David, and Jamie, and Katie, and Pablo, and Jada, and Rylan. You've all been such to the 6 boys that have been present through all this, who were there at the funeral with us yesterday. Yesterday was a very difficult time for all of us. And we chose to separate, saying goodbye to Lukas yesterday and to celebrate his life today. And I know that you've heard a lot of sad letters as well as happy times about him. It's hard to separate the two. And Andy, he loved you so much, so much. You were his brother soulmate, even though you were cousins. And you must carry him in your heart always. And Aunt Lucy, he loved you just as much. And I want to thank this man standing beside me, because he's done everything in his power to try and heal my pain. Thank you again. May God bless you.
Thank you, Audrey, for that. Today we've heard from friends and from family of Lukas. We've heard about his actions, his characters, and the qualities that made Lukas who he was. As we go forward, allow those memories to remain with you, and may the grace of God comfort you. Lukas's family would like to invite all of you to join them downstairs for some refreshments and to tell your stories of Lukas to one another. We'll do that immediately following this service. We'd ask that you simply go out of the doors and turn left and head down the stairs. We'll meet at the bottom of the stairs in the dining hall for a time to remember together. Audrey asked me to close with a blessing, and so I'm going to ask that God would bless us as a congregation. May God bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. May the Lord turn his face toward you and give you his peace. And now may the Lord of peace himself